Welcome back here on Hawks Sports Talk. We're in the Coach's Corner segment, and we have replaced Jennifer Rosati with probably the best-dressed grad assistant on the sideline for the University of Hartford coaching staff in Keyokah. Garrick, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you have to get out of here real quick because you have to go take a test. And let's talk about the balance between being a coach, being a student yet again, and you're in reality in life. Like, how do you make that balance between work, school, and life in general?
That's actually a good question. I don't know if I really balance it at all. It's just constantly doing something. So I come into the office at 9, just like the other coaches, and I think that my day just consists of doing a lot of schoolwork all day. And then whenever one of them needs help on a scout, if they need me to do personnel or shot charts or something like that, then that's the main thing that I focus on for basketball. It gets kind of hard because coaching full-time before, it was like constantly plays and looking up drills and shooting with girls. And now it's like finding pockets to do basketball and trying to pass my classes at the same time. So it's 100% different, but I'm enjoying it.
Let's take a couple steps back. So you're a couple years removed from graduating.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know what you were getting into, and then all of a sudden you get a coaching job at the Coast Guard, which is not too far from your house.
Mm-hmm.
Just talk about how that came about and what brought interest of that.
I knew I always wanted to coach. I had coached all through college, coaching AAU. So when I graduated, I kind of wanted to get back into that same thing full time. I never thought that I would find a collegiate position so fast. So I was home. I coached in Africa for a month. And when I got home,
Africa?
I was in Africa, yeah, in Sierra Leone
like
and
some
Senegal.
Elephants and lions?
I didn't see anything like that, but a lot of gorgeous beaches. I know. I wish. And it kind of worked out. The assistant from Ithaca came down to be the head coach at Coast Guard. My best friend played at Ithaca. So she kind of had heard about me through my best friend, and that it kind of just fell into place. It fell into my lap. It was just completely lucky. And I interviewed and got the job a month later. So,
well, you know
awesome.
that's how life works. It's all about who you know, right?
I know. I got really lucky, so I was happy.
So you get into this coaching position. You coach there for a year or two, and then let's go to the moment where I guess maybe you got a phone call, you were in the area, and Jennifer Rosati says that there's an opening, here on her coaching staff. Take us back to that moment.
I think I ran into her on the road recruiting in Kentucky, and I was having a rough time. It's hard to recruit D3 kids in Kentucky. So I was just talking to her about it, and I'm like, I just want to go back to school. So just through my maybe mild frustrations at the time, just kind of was talking through regular conversation. So she had called me a couple weeks later and asked if I would be interested to go back to school that she would pay for yet again and to be her grad assistant. So it kind of just worked out. She always knew that I wanted to go back since I had graduated. So it was good for me that I took the 2 years off, because now that I'm back here, I'm so much more focused than I was in undergrad, and I want to do it, and I'm enjoying being in class. So it's fun.
We're speaking with the grad assistant, Keyokah Garrick, here on Hawks Sports Talk, replacing Jennifer Rosati in the Coach's Corner. All right, so now you're a grad assistant. You're back at your alma mater, and I want to know your first interaction with a player where now you're an authority figure, you're not a teammate anymore. Mm-hmm. So do you remember this, where you kind of either had to tell them what they were doing wrong or be critical of what they were doing? And do you remember that interaction? Was it awkward?
I don't think it's been awkward at all. Because I think coming from a coaching position, coming back to coach these guys, like the seniors were freshmen when I was a senior. So it's not that I find interacting with them weird, because they were my friends first. And I think for the younger guys, it's probably a little different for me. But I was like shooting with Deanna the other day, and we all know how Deanna can get when everything doesn't go her way. And I just like clicked, and I was like, stop being a punk. And I'm like, oh, that wasn't very nice. But I didn't mean it in a way that was like I'm trying to be above you or mean. It was like, it was kind of the coach in me that was just like, get it together and make a shot. Like, we don't need to be dramatic about it. Just move on. And she texted me after, and we talked about it, and we just redo it the next day. That's what coaching's about. I don't think for me, it has much to do with me being friends with them or older or younger or anything like that. It's just, I'm here to do my job. And if you want me to rebound and make shots for you, you go hard, I'll go hard, and we'll get out of here.
Now let's reverse roles. So now you're back on a coaching standpoint. You're side by side with your former coach, where you've been on the opposite side of that, where she's ripping you to shreds on something that you made a mistake on.
Right.
And now she's a coworker of yours. How is that?
So different. Oh my gosh, so different. Sometimes I wish the girls got to see all the different sides of Coach Riz that I now get to. I feel very fortunate that I get to see that. I think that she's amazing at what she does, and now I know why. There's so many other coaches that are in this business that I wonder why they don't succeed, or even me in my old job. I'm like, if I put half as much into it as she does every single day, I mean, we would have been undefeated where I was. So I know why Hartford has been successful for so long, and that's because of, the hard work that she puts into it and demands from her staff too. So it's just really eye-opening. Like, this is a lot. It's a tough business, and she just does it with ease. So.
She's very intimidating at first. And then I think once you break that shell, she's actually kind of soft.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I never got, I did get the intimidating fact, when I played for her, but a lot of people do say that about her, but working for her, I'm like, she is the nicest lady that I've ever met. She's so calm, and she's two different people, which I think you have to be in coaching. I agree. And she's so normal and fine, you know what I mean? Regular outside the court. And when she's in that gym, she's all business. When you take her out of there, she's fine. So it's cool.
We're here on Hawk Sports Talk. We're sitting down with the grad assistant and Keyokah Garrick. I want to talk a little bit about the fact that I guess the injury bug is finding its way to the basketball team now, and you had your fair share of injuries throughout the course of your career. Are you able to relate to these girls, knowing the fact that you went through it and you were able to graduate and kind of move forward, get into coaching, and not to say continue your basketball career as a player, but in a different avenue? Have you been able to kind of, translate that to them and let them know that everything will be okay?
Yeah, I think that that's the one way I do relate to all of our injured players, or at least try to. Everyone's experience is different with it, but I think the younger you are and when you get hurt, you think it's the end of the world. You don't want to miss one game or one practice. You don't want to miss one thing. That's what I was kind of going through with Darby. And my biggest thing to her is that it's not the end of it. You're missing such a small part of your 4 years, where I think I try and put it in perspective for them. Weeks is not months. And then you look at Katie Roth, who's out for years. You just have to think of it for yourself. How bad is it? And if you can't ever step on the court again, is that the end of your life to never play basketball again? No. There's so much more to it. And I think that playing here and being injured, or being an athlete, you live in such a small world, and then you graduate, and then there's so much more opportunity and things for you to impact on life that it's really not that serious to be so stressed out about an injury. So
I was overhearing a story, or I shouldn't say overhearing. I was in conversation with Liz Hutchinson, and we were talking about your career and the fact of your injuries, and you had come back from your foot injury and you had a big game against Albany, and then Coach Rosati praised you in the locker room, and she said that from a training standpoint, she said that felt good. But how did that feel on your end? Do you remember that?
I do. It's really funny because we don't like Albany a lot, because it's always a competitive rival. If you follow
the program enough, you know that's
right.
a legit rival.
Yeah, 100%. And it's always a good game. So, of course, you don't like those teams. So it's funny, every time we talk about Albany, that's the first thing Cedric brings up. She should remember you. You had such a good game against them. Or my mom says stuff about it. And I do remember that game. It's one of my favorites, when I think about my own career. And the fact that I was able to come back for that limited amount of time my senior year and play in a game like that and have an impact to help us win and beat them that year was awesome. So,
before we let you go, kind of a broad question, but hopefully you can give me a quick answer on it. So, 4 years, now you're a grad assistant, your playing career is over. What do you think Hawks fans remember when they say Keyokah Garrick?
That's a good question. I think people probably peg me as the person who does a lot of other things besides basketball. So I think people think of my Native American culture and dancing, the fact that I've sang the national anthem a few times now.
Very good.
And that I played here. So I hope all positive things, but I think just that I always have my hand in something random and different. So that would be my guess.
We appreciate the time, and now you need to live up to the whole fact that I've deemed you the best dressed coach on the sideline.
I'll do my best.
That's Keyokah Mars Garrick. We'll take a break right here on Hawks Sports Talk. We'll come back with one of the players here in this Hartford Hawks women's basketball team. You're catching all the action right here on 91.3 FM WWH.